Our latest World Cup Spotlight takes a closer look at Scotland, who's back in the World Cup after a long time away. The Tartan Army qualified for their 8th ever World Cup, and this will be their first since 1998. Scotland booked their place in the World Cup by topping a top UEFA qualifying group that included Denmark and Greece. And leading the way for the Scots is Serie A Player of the Year Scott McTominay, their leading goal scorer in qualifying. And Scotland's history books feature plenty of legends, but perhaps none bigger than all-times Caps leader and Liverpool icon Kenny Dalglish. Scotland's reward for making it back to the World Cup, a very tough group draw that pits them against Brazil and Morocco, as well as their first opponent, Haiti. Now, Jeff, what can we expect from Scotland making their first World Cup appearance since 1998? What's the faith that you have in this side?
I would expect them to do a lot better than they did at the Euros, when I think even the most ardent Scottish fan would say that the team were poor. They were better than they performed. They just didn't perform. They just didn't turn up. As always, the fans are magnificent. We know that. But after the opening hammering against Germany, so they're going to look to improve upon that. Yeah, as you said, it is a tough group. I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, if they can get out of this group, then they've pretty much won the World Cup in their eyes, because it is a tough group. But if they can beat Haiti, they can do it. So, and in a way, I think the chastening experience of the Euros will actually stand them in good stead, because they won't want to feel that they haven't done themselves justice again. And because it is largely the same squad and it is still in their minds, I think will actually help galvanise them at the World Cup.
Yeah, you talked about the fans. It definitely helps for them to be taking on Haiti in the first match. Gives them maybe a little bit of confidence as they head into the other two group stage matches. But Jeff said it, the fans that they have, apparently right now, it could be potentially 50,000 fans coming from Scotland to the U.S., and that's the minimum number that I've heard. How incredible would that be for the Scotland side?
Scottish fans don't need an encouragement to travel. There will be kilts everywhere, there'll be bagpipes, they'll bring their culture, they'll be loud, and they'll be so proud of the fact that this is them effectively winning the World Cup as far as they're concerned. All they're looking for is effort and participation. But now you start looking at the nostalgia of it, and of course you spoke about it, they haven't been there since '98, but then they have familiar reading in terms of Morocco and Brazil, and these are all things that you can turn around and do to galvanise and create a narrative and to create history. Now, the Haiti game is actually, I would say it's unfortunate that it's first, because you almost want your most achievable, or the game that you are most favourable in, to be last, so that you can weigh up as to where you are in regards to the other features in the group. But at the same time, with this new format of the World Cup, with the opportunities now for 3 teams to go through, this is the best opportunity of Scotland have had to progress to a knockout stage, which is, as Jeff alluded to, this is like almost winning a World Cup for them. So
I slightly disagree that you want the game last, because if you play that first and you win it, and it's your most winnable game, which it probably is, out of the 3, it's fantastic. But if that's your most winnable game and you lose it, then it's terrible timing.
See, I'm with JD here on this one. I would want it. I would want it first. I wouldn't want it first. I'm sorry. I would prefer to play even a Brazil first, because the best teams grow into the tournament.
100%.
The first games in the group stage are not necessarily when they start to gather their rhythm, right? Get into the tournament. Because the reality is, I don't know that you think you're going to beat Brazil, right? But I'd rather grow into the tournament a little bit, get my legs underneath. Because what if you just nerves of being in the World Cup?
But look at the Euros. Sorry to harp on about the Euros. Opening game, they played Germany, got battered 5-1, and that knocks you badly.
Yeah, but then the opposite is, if you think about what Senegal did to France in that infamous 2002 World Cup, where they caught France cold in the beginning. They created a moment in history, and that will forever sit into those. So I understand exactly what you mean. Tournament football, the best teams seem to ramp up as they go further along. I'd rather play Brazil early. I'd rather get Morocco out of the way, so that if I know where I stand on that final day when I'm playing Haiti.
The problem you got, though, JD, is you don't have a choice.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we can talk about this. It doesn't really matter, does it? But let's get another voice into the conversation. Our new European football expert, Euan Robertson. Euan, you've been listening to the conversation. What are your opinions? Do you think that it'd be better for them to play Haiti first or last in the group stage?
Well, firstly, thanks to Jeff for bringing up the Euros again. Didn't need to hear about that so soon. But I do agree with him. I would rather have the game first. I think many Scots would, purely for the fact that if you beat Haiti, then you've got a really good chance of finishing third in the group and potentially progressing into the knockouts for what would be the first time in Scotland's history. And to many, as Geoff said, that would be like winning the World Cup, because let's be realistic, Scotland are not going to win the World Cup. But to get out of the group for the first time in history would be a remarkable achievement. I think that's certainly the target. Going back to the Euros, the performance levels and what happened there was completely underwhelming. It almost felt like the mentality of the group, and perhaps a criticism of Steve Clarke was that even reaching the Euros was the achievement we'd already won by getting there. But I think the mindset has to switch now. The target has to be to get into the knockout stages.
I just want to know, from a journalist perspective, right? You've lived and you've breathed with this squad. You've grown with this squad, clearly. What's the biggest strength of this team? Like, is it McTominay FC? Is that how we look here, or are they built? Do they have layers in terms of the players that steer the system of Steve Clarke and everything they can produce in this competition?
It's a good point. One I often question myself is the main strength of the team. I believe it's the fact that this squad has been together for so long now. I think that's so important in international football, when you don't train every single day together. You don't have that kind of cohesion that club teams do. The fact that these players know each other, they've been together for several campaigns, they've experienced success, they've also experienced disappointment. I think that cohesion, that unity within the squad is probably the biggest strength of the group. This is not a team of superstars, this Scotland team. It's a team of hard-working, modest players who've achieved good careers in football, but the biggest star is unquestionably Scott McTominay. I mean, he scored what is probably the best ever goal I've seen in person in that game against Denmark with the overhead kick. Yeah, his transformation over the last 18 months since moving to Napoli has been quite simply phenomenal. And he is the real talisman for this team. Go into the Euros 2024, for example, he was the top scoring midfielder in qualifying. Only Lukaku, Ronaldo, Mbappe and Kane scored more goals than him during that campaign. So he is a talisman. He's a player you look to in the big moments, and he's delivered so far. But the biggest challenge now is to do it on the biggest stage.
You talk to me about the goalkeeping situation, right? Craig Gordon, a guy that's been around forever, been doing it for a long time. He's got clearly the most caps by far. Then you got some young goalkeepers there. What does Steve Clarke do here at the World Cup?
Worry. I think that's probably the main thing in Steve Clarke's mind at the moment. Angus Gunn was the undisputed #1, but he's not playing football this season, so he simply can't play. You've got Craig Gordon, who is 42. Off the top of my head, if he goes and he plays the World Cup, he must be the oldest player in the competition. But he's made some remarkable saves this season. But again, he's not playing for Hearts, who are going for the title in Scotland, and a quite incredible, unprecedented season up here too. So your conundrum is, do you go for who are your best goalkeepers, one who's 42, one who doesn't play, or do you go for goalkeepers who, if I'm being brutally honest, aren't of international standard but are playing week in, week out? It's unquestionably one of the weaknesses in this squad.
Yeah, and we talked about McTominay. Of course, he is the focus, and Oz, Andy Robertson and John McGinn get a good mention too. But outside of those three, who can give Scotland something different? Who can provide a moment of magic, or at the other end, a moment of solidity?
The player I would identify would be Ben Gannon-Doak, who made the move from Liverpool to Bournemouth this summer. He's had injury problems. He sustained an injury actually in that winner-takes-all game against Denmark. But he's a player who probably has what the squad badly lacks. It doesn't really have any pace outside Ben Doak. We don't have any real natural wingers who are playing at a high level. As I'm sure you're aware, Geoff, that Harvey Barnes, Newcastle United player, who's English but qualifies for Scotland, he could. The hope was certainly, for Steve Clarke, that he would accept the chance to play for Scotland at this World Cup, but he's declined that opportunity, which, I don't understand it. If you're a player getting the chance to go to a World Cup, why would you turn that down? I think he believes he can still get in the England squad, which I think is fanciful, to be honest. But back to Gannon-Doak, he's got incredible potential. You know, when he went to Bournemouth in the summer from Liverpool, they put back a buyback option, a sell-on clause. He never really got the kind of minutes at Liverpool to show his potential. But, you know, Jurgen Klopp was a huge admirer of him. He's quick, he can beat a man, he can do something special. So he would be the player that I'd pick out as the one to watch.
2 quick questions. A, how do you think the players and the fans could handle the heat? And also, we are a morning footy show, so what is a traditional Scottish breakfast?
Oh,
you don't want to know.
With the 2 questions.
You really don't want to know.
You're going to expect me to say haggis here. I think that's the sort of
Not
stereotype.
for breakfast.
Yeah, not for breakfast or for dinner for me. It was Rabbi Burns Day recently. I didn't take up the opportunity to have some haggis. A typical Scottish breakfast, it depends who you are, really. Quite like a typical English breakfast, we do like a fry-up over here. But I imagine a lot of the breakfast for Scotland fans in America will be beer, to be honest.
Lager.
I don't blame them. I mean, the fact that 2 of the games are in Boston is incredible for Scotland as well, because, you know, there's a large Irish community in Boston, you know, lots of Irish pubs, and I think it's the perfect place for Scotland supporters to go. You know, 50,000 is the estimate. I think it'll be well above that who go over to this. You've seen with the scenes in Germany, I think Scotland fans get so much love and praise from the community in Germany for, you know, how they kind of integrated and supported their team. In terms of the weather, yeah, a lot of factor 50. There'll be a lot of ginger-haired people going over there, and I don't know if you've ever worn a kilt, anyone, but it's not the best to wear in hot conditions, to put it mildly.
Euan, are you coming out here to America for the games?
You going to fly me over?
Producer, do you hear that? We got that in the budget for Euan?
Yeah, there should be a budget for me to fly over, I think. But yeah, I've not decided yet. I've got lots of other holidays summer, but I think I will, if I can, get over to America, because, you know, what an occasion, the biggest festival of football in the world, and hopefully the impact on American football and the MLS is massive too.
All right, so on the packing list, if he does come next summer, lots and lots of SPF, and bring your own haggis.
Haggis.
I regret looking up what's in this.
Don't do it.
Oh, I already looked it up. I already looked at pictures.
I'm so happy
You
you
should
didn't talk
try
about
it.
black pudding and all the rest of it. Oh,
Try
don't
it.
do it.
I thought you were going to go kippers.
Bro.
I'm not overly keen on fish, but iron brew, definitely lots of iron brew over there, because that's the king of the hangover as well for us Scots.
You don't want that in your life, either.
Iron
Love
Brew,
it.
I don't want it in my
You don't
life.
want that in your life.
I like the way it sounds, so I'd rather have that than haggis.
Remember, I'm your homie. I'm trying to put you on game. You do not want this in your life.
Well, Euan, thank you so much for joining us for your first of many, many morning footy appearances. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.